Greetings, everyone. Rev.Hawksblood here, calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. All right, there's a few things I want to go over. This is for everybody, all the whistleblowers, storytellers, people that live in la la land, fairyland, dreamers, wishful thinkers, delusional people, programmed people, all of them together. First up, we got a problem. The virus isn't a game, it's not a make believe story. No matter how, where it came from, why it's here right now, it will be killing people. And there's a reason why that happens. We'll get into that as we move along today. All right, we're going to talk about two words. The first word I'm going to deal with right now is called spiritual. There's a lot of people calling themselves spiritual. I never did. In all the shows I ever did, I never said I'm spiritual. Never. Never claimed to be. I claim that I have awareness of things that most people do not, because of direct experience, personal experience, actual experience, and witnesses as well. So I could go into all that, but I'm not going to. Listen to some of my other shows, pull up my books, anything. We're going to go into the hardcore facts right now. Okay, the other word that I want to mix with spiritualism is religion. Another word that mankind uses greatly in the United States and other countries, but it means different things to different people in different parts of the world. All right, there's a one word called Christianity, which is the biggest religion of people on the planet Earth. Does it mean anything? No. To the people, it means a lot. They think they have the truth. They think their truth is important. They base it on what they perceive was written in the Bible. The Bible, which was written by man, not God. The Old Testament was written mostly by Moses, not God. He claimed a lot of things. He gave man the description of what God is, and man accepted it. Meaning, man-like, in his kind. We were created in his kind. No, we weren't. Never was. When we weren't here, were we created in his kind? No. Dinosaurs created in his kind? No. Aliens created in his kind? No. Problem is, God was an incredible being. It was what it is and always will be. The only one. All right. He is a word that mankind uses. I'll say it because it's not male or female. It doesn't have genitalia, and it surely doesn't care about sex as something being important. In this reality, in the lower realm, meaning the physical and the astral planes, it does. It's important to the people that are here, including all the alien races. Sex is important to them. Now, I'm going to go into two abstracts of that. Aliens and demons and creatures and all the other things that come along with those words. None of them can harm you if you're aware of God. First off, let's start with that. Well, if you don't believe in God, that's your choice, your prerogative, and your problem. Because when you get closer to death, I experienced death 5 times. So you want to talk about that, please, anytime. I'll challenge anybody that had a death experience on that. Because most of them only had one. I had 5. Each one was different and more important than the one before it. Now, out-of-body experiences. I know a lot of people have them, but they're only going to the astral plane. The astral plane is not much better than this world. The only thing different, you can't kill somebody there. You can't take a gun and blow somebody's head off. You can't. It doesn't do anything. You don't play with guns there either. But what do you do there? You should ask yourself that in your so-called truth of knowing these things. What do you do when you get to your, quote, heaven? Heal other people? What do you want to heal people for? People are just bodies. Soul is what dwells inside it and runs it. And soul doesn't want to stay here. I'm going to go into the most important thing in all history of this human race. All right, this whole human race. All right, why are we here? What do we come here for? What do we really think we can do here? Well, you have to look at what God created in all the times that different creations came out of reality. Ancient aliens, they go into a lot of stories about things, but they don't prove anything, just that there was some kind of races here. The Enochs, yes, they found giant skeletons. But how many alien bodies did they find in 20,000 years? Well, I guess if you went inside the Vatican, went inside their vault, you would find something really important. But since that's not going to happen anytime soon, let's deal with what we have. Thousands of storytellers, a lot of fantasizing and delusional people, programmed people, conditioned people that love to tell stories and believe them. I'm not going to go into every specific name because the stories are just so far-fetched, so incredible, and people want to believe it. What you should believe in is what you can prove. If I cut your head off, you're going to die. I don't care how spiritual you are, what belief you have, whatever you think, you're protected. If I cut your head off, you're going to die. So the delusional idea of Jesus' story is mind-boggling because people believe they're protected. Protected from what? Demons, aliens, entities? They're not, because you're living in hell. I mean, you should watch the movie Lucifer. It kind of gets into it, makes it kind of funny, but it's in a series. It was on. You check it out. But the idea that we're protected and we're going to be forgiven. Forgiven for what? Being an idiot? So God should come down and grant everybody a better place. What should God give people that are destroying every single thing they have? Why do people they even deserve to think that they can stay in heaven or go to heaven? A person who considers him the top mystic on the planet, pull him up. Just by that, you should be able to pull him up because he claiming that. Says he can change time, do every kind of thing he wants. But I asked him a simple question, and most people have no clue to the answer to this question. The word is called silver cord. What is a silver cord? Well, all the delusionary people that don't know or even kind of think they do, it is a cord that attaches your soul body or your body, astral body, to this body that you're working in right now. All right. So when you have an out-of-body experience, when you have a death experience, you're usually connected by that silver cord, and then it allows that soul to come back in this body. If I took you and threw you out into space and let you drift for billions of years, you think you'd be able to find your way back? Well, and that's only the physical realm. People have no clue. Scientists are delusional about what they think they know about spiritual. Spiritual worlds are everything above the astral plane. Now, what you don't hear people talk about are the gods, not God itself, the little gods which God created to be the watchers, keepers, and gatekeepers of all these different realms. The astral plane has 3, and a lot of people attack Lucifer. He's one of the highest fallen angels. That's how ignorant people are. He's not in the Bible. It's not talking about him all the time. It talks about Satan. Satan is not Lucifer. Lucifer is a fallen angel. Satan is not. Satan has an army. And guess what? God allows it to stay here. Can anybody else take it away? No. Not Jesus, not Moses, not Buddha, not Muhammad. Nobody can. Unless God says, okay, it's being removed. It will remove it. It doesn't need pawns to do its work. But it sure doesn't need to be bothered by billions and billions of ignorant little ants crawling around on the ground, doing absolutely nothing. All right? Jesus said many things that are important. It's not what you put in your body, it's what comes out of it. Do people understand what that means when Jesus said, turn your cheek? Do people understand what that means? When Jesus talked about rich people, do anybody care what that meant either? He put it in a parable. Read the parable, all you rich people. Read what it says, how Jesus explained it to idiots. Realize he was working with farmers and fishermen. No knowledge, no real technical trade of anything. Barely surviving. All right? Well, think about that. Try to. Now, here is a person, the most spiritual being, not God, never was, never claimed to be, walked on this planet. He came here. Oh, the Immaculate Conception. Well, you could believe that or not. And it's not provable either way. Mary had children. He had brothers. And he had a sister as well. But is that going to be talked about much? One of Jesus's brothers became one of his disciples, followers, not disciples, but one of his followers as well. Second thing to that, Mary Magdalene, who was considered all kinds of words, sleazy whore, and all those things, they gave her every word they could because she was a woman. The most spiritual woman to ever walk this planet. Provable. Who did she teach? Jesus' disciples that didn't understand what Jesus was teaching them. Are people that ignorant? It says it in your own Bible. If you want to believe your Bible, do you believe what it says? At least some of it? Or you pick and choose and you recreate what that definition means for yourself to make it feel good for you. Forgiveness and protection and all those words. Even when Jesus healed people, he didn't say, I'm going to heal you. He said, you've been healed by your own faith, not mine. Do you follow the words that Jesus taught his people? Of course not. Never mind, if you would have ever looked into Jesus' eyes, you would know who and what he was. And his followers did. Even many of his followers turned against him. How can you look into God itself through a reflection, which was Jesus, not God, allowing people to perceive it? And then turn your back and think, his disciples turned against him. His disciples lied. I hear people saying they'll give their life for God, Jesus, and all that. Prove it. God said, give your life for me, and you'll have eternal life. Came through the word of Jesus. Give your life to him, and then it will be eternal life. If you don't, you lose your life. Do people listen to that? Now, here's the thing that really bugs me. People swear by the Bible. Okay, you want to follow Moses' laws, the 10 Commandments. People can't do that. Why? They're too hard, too complicated. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not kill is too hard to follow. Honor your mother and father if they deserve to be. The same as if they respect and honor you, which isn't part of the 10 Commandments. There wasn't enough space to write it there. But do I have to go through all of them? But the idea, when what was said in the 10 Commandments, are rules to live life by. The Sabbath day meant one day a week to worship God. Why? Because man can't do it for a day, never mind a week or a year or a life. So he said, okay, do it at least one day if you can, which people can't do. So the idea of killing being greatly accepted was proven by Moses. I'm not going to go into the alien races before that because the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Egyptians were all ignorant, sick people. Why do you think they were taken away? Because they were loving, compassionate beings? Did they know anything about a real God? No, they didn't. Just so you know, no matter who you speak to, whether it's Jesus, Moses, right, whoever you think you talk to, what do you think Jesus said? What do you think he was teaching? And why would you believe what you think is important to this world if it's not important to this world? And if it is, what is it? Read my book. I'm not trying to sell my book. As soon as I download an ebook, I will give it away. But as of right now, it's online. You have to buy it. But my first 2 books are free, and I give them away as ebooks. But here's the thing. Jesus had an incredible mission, which he chose to do. God didn't make him take it. No, God doesn't make anybody in this realm or the lower realms do anything. And when they get into the higher realms, they're responsible for the laws of the higher realms, which people have no clue what are either. Moses, being one of the most evil black magicians to live on this planet, knew about the psychic abilities. It's not that complicated. So you sold to Lucifer. Okay, you want to believe that? Okay, no, it's not selling your soul to Lucifer. The astral plane, you can go, and when you get into the pyramids there, you can learn ascension there. But very few souls have ever learned that. Moses was one of the few. People are saying they're going through ascension. All these speakers in the UFO world and every other realm, ascension. Ascending means moving from here to the astral plane. Ascension means becoming God realized. Tell me one person on this planet that is. I'm sure there's 10 people saying they're God on this planet right now. Some of them have started retreat centers and everything else. Watch their life. What do you think God created the human race for? Just not for the end result of what soul is. This is nothing. We are nothing to what soul really is in this reality. The astral plane, we're not much better. Now, for all the alien people, all the UFO people, and everybody else out there talking about the 3 dimensions in the next world and the dimensions, we went through the 5th dimension, 6th dimension. There's 3 dimensions here. Each one has 3 different realms within each one of them. In the physical reality, meaning this world and the astral plane. So when you say, oh, I'm in the 6th dimension, you're not very far anywhere. Where the government's trying to get into the alternate reality, going through the black hole and getting into what dimension, what do they think they're going to tame when they get there? What do they think they're going to be wearing, eating, and doing when they get there? The ignorance of the human race. Now, since they're going to be cloning animals and aliens and humans together, guess what we're going to have? A bunch of hodgepodge or weird stuff. What if they put wings on people? Which they might try. Let's link a person to an eagle and give them some big wings. I could see that happening soon. Because right now they got a pig monkey in China. They got a new animal they're creating with a half human and half. Plus they would have been cloning insects with animals. Do you know that? And that's been going on for a long time already. They're making some important things for the human race anyway in their mind. But when they start cloning animals and aliens, or animals and humans, where do you think we're going to go? We're going to become a better race? Now, let's take this, go backwards to the humans. What are we here for? How long have we been here? Well, for the people that are so ignorant, thinking of evolution and words like that, you're delusional. And I could prove it 1,000 ways, but no, you don't need proof. You want to believe your ignorant reality that scientists told you. All right. Monkeys never became humans. We were never monkeys. And then we could go into dolphins. Why do they have a human brain? All right. There's a lot of scenarios that throw it completely out of balance. Unless you believe Robin Williams did a show about dolphins and said the dolphins came on land and became cows. I made a ridiculous statement. But, you know, science is always trying to prove something. And everything they prove gets disproved in a period of time. Einstein was a lot about many of the things he said. And the number one thing is because he didn't know much about aliens. Even though at one point he met with an alien and was taught some stuff, but it was lies he was taught. He said we could not go faster than the speed of light. And that has been proven wrong for 25 years, even though I knew that when I was a child and I saw my first UFO. All right. So here's the thing. Einstein was a storyteller as well as all these other people. And science followed his theories and beliefs. He said we could go forward in time, but not back. Well, the Philadelphia experiment proved that completely wrong. Now, when we go to Tesla was working with aliens. He admitted it straight out. But he came out with 200 inventions, 50 of them the most deadliest weapons for this planet, which will help destroy it soon. If you think Tesla is a good person and his knowledge and what they're going to do, well, when you talk about artificial intelligence, the world will be so different when it's completely accepted, which it will be shortly. Every year we move forward into that. Every 10 years we take a giant leap. All right. When that becomes reality, what do they need humans for? Well, a lot of them. What do they need 7.4 billion humans for? Nothing. Aliens still need us. So guess what? That's why they're here. And not for what people think. I mean, I listened to Carrie Cassidy. I did a show with somebody for 9 months on that show. And she never watched one show that we did. And also on top of that, I've been debating her on Coast to Coast on her show. I mean, she talks a great story, but she believes half of the people that come to her. All these whistleblowers with great stories, even if parts of what they say are true. So what? So we're on Mars. So we're on the moon. Are you planning on going to the moon anytime soon? You going to bring your family with you? What are you going to do for a part-time hobby? Jump up and down on the moon or Mars? What do you think reality is for people up there? What kind of sex life? What kind of relationships do you think they have? What kind of meals do you think they're eating on a daily basis? You think they could go swimming in the ocean whenever they feel like it? You want to live like an animal, live like a creature? Go on, get on a ship. I do a show every Tuesday. She's been sick today. I couldn't get her. I deal with a woman that's been abducted half of her life. I knew hundreds and hundreds of people that have been abducted and proven it beyond a shadow of a doubt, including to the point when they lost their children. So these people that say good aliens, show me a good alien, and I'll show you a great liar or another storyteller. Now, all these people talking about different levels and why we're here, we all should be using our higher self. You are what you are. You are you. You're the highest you have ever been because you are just you as a soul. Your higher self, no, that's not separate from you. That's what you are. You are what you perceive yourself to be: dumb, stupid, smart, genius, loving, compassionate, whatever you want to pretend or believe. You can tell yourself that and even believe it. Here's what I say: truth is only important if you could prove it to the reality of the world. If you can prove it to yourself, it's your truth, which is just useful to you. And even then, when you come to death and you die in bed, is it useful really? You can believe Jesus is going to come and get you. Why? Everybody has to stay here until Jesus comes and get them. Oh, for people out there, if you do listen to this, pull up a new movie. It just started 2 days ago. Before the Wrath. And that's basically a Jesus story before the whole thing about Jesus. But it's trying to prove Jesus is coming back. Man proving anything has not been able to prove anything. They don't know anything about death, don't know anything about soul, don't know anything about spirit, angels, and God. Now, let's talk about demons and entities and creatures and interdimensional beings. Are they good? Good for what? Now, I know many people swear that they're working with this God, this angel, this being, this deity. Well, I worked with deities when I was 6 years old for 5 years. I didn't even know what it was. And it wasn't an alien. And for those people that have no clue, the first religion on this planet was Hinduism. The first god was the little gods that they worship, the deities. All right. Then mankind created religions which actually stemmed. The first religion was worship in animals, and then it became deities. That's why you always see half animal and half humans, and then it became deities, which with multiple arms, legs, heads, and things like that, to exaggerate who and what they were, but still in the image of a man, except maybe Shiva's son, which was the symbol of an elephant. Okay, why? I mean, our belief system, elephants are smart, so Shiva's son was a super smart being. All right. When that changed, it went to alien races coming here. When the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Egyptians, and started working with their so-called gods, they didn't call them gods in those time frames. God was a man-made word. God meant singular. And then they added an S to it, meaning plural, because the UFO world made it gods, like all these different gods that came here. There were aliens. Most of them were aliens. What do you think taught the Egyptians about the false reincarnation, the techniques and what they do for reincarnation? It's all wrong and stupid and ignorant. If you had a slight pea brain even, you could realize what the Egyptians did, had no way of believing that they would come back to that body, cutting the skulls open, taking the brain out, breaking the jaw. Let's come back to that body? Really? Then immortalizing them and wrapping them up and putting them in a little box. What do you think happens to that body? It doesn't stay like it did when you left it in the first place. But see, they weren't smart enough to realize that the races that they were dealing with were feeding them false information. Now, all the UFO people in the ancient alien world and places like that talking about why the pyramids were made. What do you think? Why do you think they're not occupied right now? What do you think they really did? If aliens had to communicate through pyramids, how intelligent were they? Astral projection even goes beyond that. So how dumb were they? How powerful were they? No, the technology helped them. The ability to disappear and appear is within everybody. It's one of the 32 psychic abilities soul can experience in this reality for a short period of time. That's it. Walking through walls and things like that. You can't stay disappeared and travel the universe, come back as a disappeared being. No, that doesn't happen. But I experienced most of the psychic abilities. I was not allowed to have two of them. And obviously, it was the one I really wanted. But in the interim, I learned about all the other ones. Just so you know, to all the psychic people, all the super psychic people, if you use any of those abilities, if you're a witch or a demon, work with demons, whatever, they cannot be used in this reality in a good way. Nothing can. You change reality, you play God. Playing God means you think you're God, and you're living in a delusion in hell. Now, Satan made sure people get what they want when they give themselves over to its army. I wrote this out already, but check out Bob Dylan when he said he sold his soul to the devil. He said every song he wrote after that became gold, whether he gave it to somebody else to sing or whatever. And he said he wasn't the only one that did it. How would he know that? Why would they even talk about that or admit it? When it comes closer to being aware of what you do in your life, especially when you sell your soul to the devil or believe things. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to say this because there's a lot of people that might listen, might not, but hopefully one day it'll get to them. Healing comes from soul itself. No other soul can heal another person. Not in this reality. All these great healers, they work on a person's ego, get them to give over their energy and essence, and then they just throw it back at them. Nobody's walking this planet as God, whether they say they are or they aren't. Here's a simple scenario. I was a magician half of my life, a black magician for a short period of time, a white magician most of the time while I was a witch. I use the word witch. And then when I started a spiritual quest, it became different. But I learned all the psychic abilities that I could and tried playing with them. Well, I could have destroyed my whole reality by doing that as well, which people that do it don't realize they are doing it. If you ever watch a movie about selling your soul to the devil, I mean, there's a song about it, and he fakes out the devil and stuff like that. But, in reality, his army's everywhere. And they're winning. Every game children play, and people that like to play games, killing and everything else, really? What do you think it does to a child's mind? Movies about zombies and killing zombies. What do you think that does to a child's mind? If you're a parent and you allow it to happen, you're a evil person. You're allowing your own child to get destroyed. Well, I don't want to take care of him, so I'll let him play a game for the rest of the day. People hiding from their own responsibility. People that use the word Jesus in a bad name, God in a bad name, guess what? That's karma. People that abuse their children, that's karma. Now, sexual partners and things like that, that's karma. It's not forgivable. Oh, well, in the Jewish religion, a woman has to be a virgin to get married. Has to be. The Hasidic Jewish religion, they don't talk about it much, but they do have to be. But a man doesn't have to be. Why is that? In the Muslim religions, you want to know what they do to their own boys and stuff. Do you want to know the truth about religion? I don't think so. You're happy with whatever you think you got. Going to heaven. What do you think happens when you get to heaven? Well, if you're a Muslim, you're going to be with all these super busted women that are virgins, and I could have sex with them all week long. Is that what you desire from God? People have destroyed what God has given them. Jesus came here to reflect on them what they should realize that they don't have, and that was God. Now, how did he do that? Well, but sure wasn't telling everybody, oh, just say you're sorry and you're forgiven, whatever you do. Go out and kill somebody, come back, and I'll forgive you, I'll heal you. Raise the dead, for what reason? When he rose Lazarus and he came out of the tomb, he was a vision and went up into heaven. All right. Now, people perceive or don't understand that. What Jesus actually did, only a few disciples that followed him had his abilities. And that was only thankful to Mary Magdalene. After Jesus died, his disciples lost everything they had. They didn't believe anything anymore. Mary Magdalene had to come to them and say, now I can teach you the truth that you don't know, which she did, including Peter. And he didn't listen for a long period of time because men did not listen to women ever before that, ever in history. So, Peter has to listen to Mary Magdalene. Guess what? He was allowed to see Jesus after that happened. Not before. Now, the people that believed in Jesus, when they doubted it, Mary Magdalene had to teach them the abilities because they all had to go out and do Jesus' teachings. What were Jesus' teachings? What did they do? Why did the people that were going after Jesus' followers kill them all? As many as they could find. Because they were doing something that they weren't supposed to do. And I'm not going to tell you what that is. Because you're probably not ready for any truth anyway. So the people that talk about Jesus and they deal with him and everything else, Jesus is not the loving, light person that they want him to be. Why should he be? When he went to the pyramid, when he went to the temples, guess what was in the temple? The Ark of the Covenant. You think Jesus got mad? Of course he did. He didn't want these idiot priests and people walking around with his gospel that he was teaching inside. There was 2 things in the Ark of the Covenant, but nobody has a clue. I mean, the first I'll tell you is the 10 Commandments, not Moses' 613 laws. So why did it have power? That's something very few people understand. And there's people out there claiming they have the Ark of the Covenant, and they're going to use that crystal that was in that coffin, box, to change the reality of the world. Nasar Harriman, pull them up, check them out. All right, he says the government has the other Ark of the Covenant. There was a couple Arks of the Covenant made because when they went to war, it was too heavy to carry into war. But the other thing they don't talk about, when they brought it out to the battlefield, it killed both sides. It didn't kill the enemy. What is the enemy? A soul that's not forgiven? So when you walk around with a gun and you think you have the right to shoot somebody because breaking into your house, all right, what do you think's going on? You have the right to kill them? Well, let's go. I'm going to go back into this because there's a lot of people now with this whole thing about the gun laws. Hawaii just increased their sales by about 60% over the past couple of weeks. Oh, we have the right to carry a gun. We have the right to defend ourselves. From what? Innocent people? Or people they just think are bad? Now, the police aren't even arresting people that are bad because there's just no room to spread the virus. So here's the thing. Let's get a gun. Somebody breaks into the house, I'll blow his brains out. Let's get the most powerful gun to make sure he's smeared all over the house. Really? How about just getting tasers and putting them up around the doors and stuff? Get them shot and let them fall on the floor at least. Killing is against God's laws, whether you want to believe that or not. Anybody that says they're a Christian, even if you don't know you are or not, and you say you're a Christian, you can't go to war and kill somebody in another country. You can't kill somebody in another country because somebody told you to do it. Are people that ignorant? The incredible karma they created by doing that. When you kill somebody, you take out him or her and the family that they could have had or have, and the families that could have been produced from that family, as well as the children's children and the children's children. So you destroy generations. That's called karma. Oh, well, he was doing this or that. Is anything in your house so important that you can't give it away? Jesus said, if he wants to, give it to him. I was challenged by that many times. Are you willing to give up everything you have for God? No, probably not. Hand over everything. Just throw it out the door and have nothing. But then you'll understand where God dwells and what Jesus was really teaching. But he taught things much more important than that. And people don't want to hear it. They just want to know they're forgiven and they're going to go to heaven and they're going to be with their family. No matter what their family did, no matter whether they loved them or not, they want to be with them. It's mind-boggling how serious this is, and people don't want to listen, don't care, and they want to believe stories about aliens. Well, what do you think aliens are coming here? To teach us something? To show us something important? All they gave to this world is weapons and devices that help destroy it. When two races came after Atlantis was destroyed, they gave the human race the ability to kill, sacrifice. Two important things to the alien races. Two important things that should have never came into our reality or our space. But Moses, in his perverted, twisted mind, had an easy way to kill people, call them demons. When he came up the mountain and he saw all these people having sex and looting, partying, whatever, he had 3,000 of them killed. Why? Because they were demons. Who called them demons? He did. When he went around the desert 4 generations, do you know all the people he started with died? And it was their children that got to the promised land? Do you know what the promised land is? Nobody has a clue, do they? Why Moses wasn't allowed into the promised land? Because people have no perception or awareness to rise above the programmed ideas that man has created from the people that are ignorant. Every story you read in history is twisted bull stories. All right, when Moses left and got closer to the promised land, everybody thinks he wasn't allowed into the promised land because he got mad or whatever. No, it's not that simple. He was responsible for killing so many people. He probably killed more people than anybody else in the history of this world. When he fought with the Pharaoh, when they killed all those children, when they killed everything. Do you realize what that meant? The good and bad always died. It's not just the good or it's not just the bad. So when I said they brought the Ark of the Covenant out into the battlefield, it wasn't the good or bad. Who was good or who was bad? If I'm fighting you like in a boxing match, who is the good one? The one that wins or the one you had your money on? But they're both out there beating each other up, just like they did all through history. And in the gladiator days and stuff, they had much more horrible tortures in the rings when they were fighting and stuff. 10 times more gory than anything you ever saw on TV. So where do you think we're going spiritually? Anywhere good? You think any alien race could teach us anything important? They're sure not going to teach you anything important about God. Are they going to teach you about traveling space and traveling universe and meeting other aliens? You can't get along with the few races that are here now. And you want to meet more? You think more should come here? Oh, the good ones will come here. And what are they going to do? Tell you not to rape your children? Where are your heads, you people that claim to be religious people, spiritual people? What's spiritual mean? Well, I send unconditional love to the world. And what's that mean? Absolutely nothing. What do you do that's spiritual? Well, I donated some money to a charity. Really? Do you know if you've even got there? If you're going to donate money, donate it to the native nation. Go out there and bring it out there. Don't send it to the head council because the council is controlled by the government and they take everything that's important before it goes to the reservation. People are so gullible. United Way. I work for the phone company. We used to donate to the United Way. So what did the president of the United Way do? Go out and buy $1 million plane for his personal use. With United Way money. You people, I know somebody said something about somebody put up a GoFundMe. Really? And he made what, $24,000? Well, the person is Sean David Morton. And for all the ignorant people, I know him directly. He's not a good, loving, compassionate, honest person, but very few souls on this planet are. He didn't steal millions of dollars, which people said. He did not do all the things they claim he did. Just so you know, and here's the facts, ignorant, idiot people out there that are condemning him and attacking him. I'm getting attacked every which way from that as well. I lost money because of what he opened up. He opened Pandora's box up. He didn't know it. He wasn't smart enough to even know that. And just so you know, I was aware I was alive when Jesus was alive. And many people that I know were. Sean was what do you call it? He worked for the Roman army. He was one of those people. All right. I know what people do, where they came from. Do you even know any of your past lives, what you did, who you are, why you're here, what you were doing, what karma you really have, and why you're thinking you're getting away with karma because you get money or get fame or whatever? Again, listen to what Jesus said about rich people. What money does to reality. It destroys it. Always did. Why did the kings and queens always have piles of gold? If aliens wanted gold, wouldn't they just take it from them? The story of the Anunnaki is the most ridiculous story, written by a person or an alien, whatever you want to call it. We're all aliens. So where do you want to get your truth from? The Emerald Tablets? I studied them. I went through ascension through the Emerald Tablets. And guess what? Thought was not a person. He was not the story man in the quote story of history in the Sumerian tablets and the stories of Enki and Anu and all those beings. They were never God. They're not gods. They didn't create us. They could tell you whatever they want. And now, because they wrote it on a piece of stone, you believe it? There's very little truth on this planet. Are you ready to look for the real truth behind what you think is truth? Why are you here? To heal people? How many are you going to heal? 10, 20, a million? Jesus came. How many people did he heal? And he was killed because of who he was, a spiritual person. One of the few spiritual people that lived on this planet. Able to talk about God. Nobody in the history of this world was able to talk about God. And I don't know anybody right now that could talk about a real God, not a delusional God that likes to talk to people or work with an army or a religion, because God doesn't do that. God's not a religionist, and he's not here to help people move forward. That's why he gave soul a body to go through that himself and become greater in its own way and learn what it is. But sadly, we love the perversions, lust, greed, anger, vanity, and attachment. I call them sports, sex, drugs, drinking, partying. Cheap thrills is what keeps man here. All things created by Satan. Everything to keep your attention off of God. So when you go on about God and what God teaches and God says and what Lucifer says and what Satan says, they're all different. And which one do you really talk to? Now, the biggest challenge, and I challenge anybody, prove who you're talking to is who you say you're talking to. The conversation with God, I challenged him so many times. He goes, I'll send you my book. I said, I don't want to read a story of La La Land. God is not a loving, compassionate being, whether you believe it or not. If it was, do you think it would allow one child to be chopped up by his father, sexually abused by his father? If God was this loving, compassionate being? And then to say he's watching over you, why? You're not stopping the child abuse. You're not stopping the abuse from what you program your children to do and become. We live in ignorance. And you'll wonder why a plague's coming out. No matter who created it. Chinese want to take over the world. Sure they do. And guess what? People might not decide to stop it in time. They're building giant armies on islands every year, more and more islands of armies. Does that sound like a friendship barrier? The Philippines already said that they're going to lose their island because China's going to close off all that waterway and everything and block them. China has its mission, and it's sure not to be friends with Trump. Do you want to go on about presidencies and candidates? Anybody that steps to become a president has an ego bigger than God. Thinking one person has the ability to think what 300,000 people, 300 million people want. Do you really think you're that smart, intelligent, and aware? You think Trump has a clue what everybody wants? He has a clue what he wants. More money for people and make them think that they're better off. Then what? Allowing children to get separated from their family? And the most horrible things to happen? Because that child's not going to become a loving, compassionate being. Let criminals back out on the street? And then when it came to pardon people, even the Native nation should be up in arms because none of the presidents would pardon Lenin Peltier, who did not kill anybody. So, the Native people are the most persecuted people in the United States, not the black people, not any other race. And people still don't even see that. And when they talk, they'll talk about everything other than Native people. Why is that? Oh, the black people's schools. I worked in the school and I watched what they did to the Native people in that school. I watched a lot of things. Do people understand the persecution that the Native people are still going through? And guess what? Any true tribal people will be probably eliminated within the next 5 to 10 years. They're still killing them on a reservation in South Dakota. And I don't want to go into all those stories because you don't care. You think Native people are demons because that's what you were told. That's why you're allowed to carry a gun and shoot their brains out. And that's why the Constitution said, carry a gun, blow every Indian up you can. And we'll give you money for their scalp. Do you believe that's the human race in the United States? What they did to the Quakers, what they did to the witches. Sadly, man abuses his own thinking. His ego steps in, and then Satan fills it with pleasure. Sex, drugs, money. And you wonder why we're where we are. The alien race is coming here. Let's start with the Greys. They're not going to build their home here anymore. They don't need to. They don't want to. They got other planets already created. Well, they took our DNA. They took our children and everything else. But they're creating a world that's going to be a lot better than this world because it's going to be their people. I do a show with a woman that's been abducted half of her life. Lois, I don't want to get into her story. Listen to my show if you want some more truth about aliens and Greys. But she's not spiritual because once she's been abducted, how do you believe God cares about you? Oh, the New Age people say, well, you volunteered to do that in your past life. Oh, really? Every child that gets sexually abused says, oh, I'm going to come back next life and get raped. That's what I want to do. Really? Are people that ignorant? Yes, they are. Do you want to move forward in your life? No. You're happy here. I'm going to get a better house. I'm going to get a better car. I'm going to be able to buy every toy I want to play with. Is that going to show you anything about God? What you're going to do once you get into the astral plane? That's not much better than here. But then think about what God actually created. Many realms beyond that. It's in the Bible. It talks about it, but people didn't understand what he wrote, so they wrote it stupidly. But when you get past the astral plane, you suddenly start experiencing much more about God. Much more about yourself as soul. Not just programmed ideas of what's good and what's right. All the laws are created by certain rich people. I mean, the laws of how we have to live, how fast you can drive your car, how many children you are supposed to have, how many wives you're supposed to have, and that you're supposed to have lots of children and all those stories. Each religion, each idea is a program. And you're falling into it and accepting it. You want the truth. You want the real truth. Listen to every asshole out there, and you'll get nothing. Go to the most spiritual people you know and listen to them. Oh, your higher self can be everything. What? 6-dimensional being. And what's that mean? Well, now I can eat a lollipop. What's it mean? What's spirit to the average person claiming they're spiritual? I challenge anybody right now. Prove God exists. Prove God is what you think it is. Prove God loves you. You got money. You have your first child. Oh, now God loves me because now I have a child. Now I have money. Really? What's it have to do with God? This realm is hell, controlled by Satan. Satan's army is gigantic. And now for all the people that think Jesus is going to come down and wipe them out. Well, you should read the Bible when Jesus met Lucifer. No, Satan. What happened? Why didn't Jesus take him out then? Oh, well, now he died, crucified, killed, come back. Now he can come back as a super being? Is that what you think Jesus is now? No, he's not. He's not even past the soul plane. because he doesn't want to be. If you talk about Jesus, talk about what he's doing, where he is, what he's telling and teaching his people. Because that's what he's doing. But he's not teaching ignorant fools. You could sit there and talk to an ant colony for 10 years, 20 years, all your life. But you think they're going to learn anything from what you said? There's a time to give up. When he said throw the seeds everywhere, somewhere they'll grow and somewhere they won't. But if they're not growing, you don't keep throwing seeds there, do you? People listen to what he says and turns it into, oh, I'm going to do this. This is about me. I'm going to be saved. I'm forgiven and all those things. Forgiven for what? You're creating sins? You need to be forgiven for something? Obviously, you already did something that's wrong. Go to Revelations. Find it yourself. Read what sins can't be forgiven. John wrote Revelations. All right. John was a disciple. He wrote that a long time ago. And he wrote about the end times. Did he talk about Jesus coming back and wiping out the bad stuff going on and everything? No. Read Revelations. You can transfer and change something into whatever you want it to be. The horsemen of the apocalypse. How about you say it? Sorry. The colors, the different colored horses and stuff like that. And who is the one that finally comes to be the fountainhead? A goddess, not a man. So, you talk about the Bible, you take what you want out of it and say, well, this is important. How strong are you in your own faith? If God told you to take your 2 children, take them up to the mountain, kill them, would you? Would you really? Well, he wouldn't make me do that. What if he did? What if it did? What's a giant ball like appears in your house and says, I want you to kill your wife and your children? And you go, no, I can't, because you have to. You want to be unfolded and move to a higher spiritual level, you have to do that. And you say no. Or you say, I'm going to do it. And do you do it? Just like in the Bible, he was ready to kill his son. But see, when it came to when Jesus was being crucified and they asked these people, do you follow Jesus? No. And he told each one of them, you're going to be a liar to yourself. So, we want to believe what we want to believe. We want to think we're spiritual. We want to think we're good. Good what? What's good on this planet? We're in the most destructive, horrible space that we have ever been in. Our children are becoming sick, perverted, twisted at every level. And women are no better off now than they have ever been. So where do you think we are? Now, let's go into the more facts that more people don't want to hear. Jesus was married to Mary Magdalene and had a daughter. Well, do you want to believe that? Yeah, you don't have to. That's your choice. You can believe what the Bible says. The Bible doesn't talk about Mary Magdalene. Why is that? Because she was too powerful. She had the same ability Jesus had, or she wouldn't have been able to teach the disciples what she had to teach them. You can't teach somebody something if you can't show it or prove it to them. How do you teach love? You cannot. So the idea Jesus came here to teach love. No, he didn't. He showed it. Because when he married Mary Magdalene, she was always next to him. And then they realized that, but not before. And she was painted well, who cares about paintings? Because people elaborate whatever they want to him as well. But she was with him. And she was the first person to see him come back when he came back. Why? The story's worded different because they don't want to word it that you know the truth. Mary Magdalene and Thomas, the few people that escaped where they were living and traveled the world. Thomas went to India, and he was mistaken for Jesus, but he did give Jesus' teaching to India. Mary Magdalene went to all different countries, but she had to escape out of the country she was in because they were out to kill her every which way. But it doesn't go into that much in the Bible because she was a nobody. She was a nothing, except the mother of Jesus' daughter, which he only saw after he came back. He didn't see her before he was killed. But people don't want to hear anything close to that. They rather believe blah, 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 blah. Because who said so? Who wrote it? Now, here's the thing, people, if you're going to follow the Bible, Christians at least, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are four gospels that they put together to create the New Testament. Do you even have a clue to who those two people are and who the other two people are? Two of them were Jesus' disciples, and the other two were evangelists. Mark and Luke were evangelists. I look up the word evangelist. They followed. One followed Peter and the other one followed Paul. Paul never met Jesus physically. Peter did. So you want to take a teaching when Paul had his illusions or fantasies, visions. How real were they? How many people have real visions? You have parts of real visions, but the mind rips it apart. That's what I'm saying when people come here. They're only learning about soul, not about people, not about animals, not about anything else. And if they can't do that, they're going to keep coming here and being stuck in the matrix, thinking it's important, thinking what they're doing is important, saving mankind from what? Now, let's go into who saved Jesus, who brought Jesus' name in. John the Baptist did. He was putting his life out there. He knew he was going to lose his life as well. And he anointed Jesus. And he says, I can't do that. And Jesus said, yes, you can. You know, you need to understand what was really going on. Why would Jesus say that to a man? A man. Who is this man? So, you know, when he had his head cut off, I guess the queen didn't like him that much, really. But he was just jealous. She was jealous. Jealousy and ego destroy the planet. Nothing else. Thinking somebody's better, somebody's worse, is all that matters. I'm better, they're worse. Let's get rid of the poor people. Let's get rid of the sick people. Let's get rid of the old people, is where they're at now. Your government is corrupt. Now, if you want to believe one story about somebody, if I told you I was a thief, murderer, rapist, killer, and everything else, and you could say, okay, I believe it. He said so. But if Joe Schmo said that about me, would you believe it? Just because he said so? Now, something for more ignorant people out there in the UFO world. There's people in jail. There's people in the nut house. And there's people that have been killed because they were going to expose the truth. Now, if you're out there speaking mainstream against the government, all right, why do you think they would let you do that? Because you're just telling lies or stories. How many people in the UFO world have a real story? Corey Good's story. Check it out. Listen to it. Listen to what he says. Everything he says, the blue race shows him videos and showed him his past, present, and future. Nick Baggage was on TV with Jesse Ventura and took out the small Munchkin harp machine and projected thoughts into Jesse Ventura's brain. And that was with a battery-operated little toy. Imagine what the harp system can do to a world. And we have 5 of them. One's here, one's on the other island, one's up in Alaska. Check out Nick Baggage. All right? His story's even changing. You know what's funny? All these people, their story changes in time. They forget the truth or they lied so much, the truth's no longer there, so they have to recreate a new story. All right, check out childhood. Check out what a person went through. I'm telling you the truth. I had probably a bad child, like many people do. Bad middle-aged relationships. I had a lot of all those problems. I committed suicide a few times. Tried to. I had a lot of death experiences as well. But each one of them opened up something in me to show me something greater. All right? Now, is that a sin? Oh. You know, everybody's killing themselves one way or another. Smoking. Oh, I could smoke. I'm going to die anyway. I can drink. I'm going to die anyway. I could do drugs. I'm going to die anyway. I can have sex with every woman out there. I can do it anytime I want. All those little things. I could eat anything I want. I'm in a place where I am not really watching everything I eat because Jesus said it's not what you put in your body, it's what comes out. Well, people are disgusting. And it always bothered me. Just the way people go to the bathroom, spit, throw up, and all those things. It's disgusting. Because what we are inside is coming out. Spiritual beings don't eat. So guess what? Are you eating? Oh, well, yeah, you're eating, aren't you? So to say you're spiritual, what kind of spiritual person do you think you really are? When are you going to wake up, people? Probably not in this lifetime. Maybe not in the next one after that. You might not even be on this planet again. You might be on another world recreated for hell because we blew this one up. But listen to these people out there. I mean, the most famous speakers in the UFO world. Listen to them. Listen to their story. Oh, well, this all fits together. You can fit a puzzle together, but it's still only planet Earth and the astral or the physical plane. Has nothing to do with God. Nothing anybody has brought out that I know of in the past 25 years relates to anything important about God. Why is that? Am I the only one that really cares about what God really is? Well, I know what God is. What? I'll do a workshop with anybody right now and prove them that they're totally wrong about every aspect of what they think God is. Never mind Jesus. Jesus brought a technique to this world. Anybody that deals with Jesus, ask him what it is. What did he really teach? You might understand something really important if you listen. Then doing it will be the second part of it. I mean, Jesus was trying to teach his disciples the techniques and they weren't able to do it. And then when he was killed, Mary Magdalene had to finish teaching them that. And then when they learned it, then they were able to move into a higher realm. Because once you get into the astral plane, like I told you, the psychic abilities come from there. They don't come from beyond it, because you don't need psychic abilities after you leave the astral plane. You don't need psychic remote viewing, astral projection. Those words aren't even vaguely important anymore, because you're way beyond it. But as long as you stay attached to anything in this world, you're never going to leave it. Well, I love what? Your dog, your cat, your partner? Sure you do, but you can't take it with you. And then that man created a soulmate. Well, you'll stay with me forever. No, you won't. No possible way. You're both creating karma in different ways. And it both has to be paid off one way or another for each one of you. The delusion that man creates always protects himself. Why do you think man created the definition of their so-called hell? It's a place where all bad people go. No, it's a place where all bad people are to get out of. Gizmo, stop it. Hey, so I've been going on. I could go on for hours, but nobody wants to listen to 10 minutes. And if you even listen to the end of this show, you're incredibly gifted to stand it. Because truth hurts more than anything else on this planet. And very few people want to hear it, want to know it, want to realize what it is. It's not about life. Even Buddha said it. You have to think about death every minute, every hour. Because every second you're getting closer to death than life in the body. But Buddha didn't teach about leaving the lower realm. He taught about reincarnation greatly. And if you become an aware being, you don't have to reincarnate, which is really should be the first important step in spiritual unfoldment. So take your pick, listen to all these idiots, program people, storytellers telling you what's going to happen in the future. Do you care? Unless you can find God within you and know what it really is and what you're going to do when you get closer to that part of your reality. Well, I'll die right now. Really? To do what? If you're standing next to Jesus, what would you be doing? Preaching? Telling stories of what? What can you do that Jesus would need you? What do we do that aliens need us for? Relate things to other things that are real in your reality, and you'll see you know nothing. Nothing of the truth. So look, I know you hated this video, and you probably hate me, but that's your choice. And if you listen to it, I give you credit for that. If you liked it, please send it to everybody you know. Let them hate it or not, and they can get back to me, Hawksblood1, AOL.com. I don't mind hate mail. I don't mind like mail. I don't like any kind of mail. I don't mind it. Just when it's the same old government stuff over and over again. Asking me to take a survey 10 times a day. I mean, duh. So look, you got something to say it. Prove your point. Any point. Whatever it is. I'm into truth. Show me the truth. And then prove it. Pictures aren't proof. I'm not going to get into all those stories. We could. I've been going on for a while. I hope you got something out of this. I could go on. Like I said, I know the average mind can't perceive things more than 10 minutes. If you listen to an hour, you might remember 10 minutes of that. And if you record it or watch it over, you might be able to get a little more from it. For those people, again, if I didn't watch it, I'm going to try to watch it tonight because I have to watch what people are throwing around me. All right. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. I'm just saying I knew Jesus and what he was, what he really is, and what he taught. Nobody I know can say that for real. Oh, well, he told me what? He said what? What was he teaching? He came here to teach, and that's all he is doing. Not coming to save the universe. He doesn't have to. It's not his mission. If it was Captain America or Superman, he would have taken Satan out when he met with him. But he didn't. And he spent 40 days and 40 nights there with him. Guess what? They had a great conversation. Jesus talked about that, but it's not even written in the Bible. It only goes into a couple sentences. And then it was plagiarized by, now, like I said, there's 4 different people in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The evangelist plagiarized what the other one said, what his true disciples said. So it's word for word. Check out the Bible if you read it and listen and understand what you even read. Again, read Revelations 10 times. Read Adam and Eve 10 times. You'll see all the lies in that one couple little pages. See how many times it was false truth, false teachings, saying God had a lie? Just read it. Open your eyes, listen, open your ears, open everything, and be aware of the truth, if you're willing. But as long as you're not, keep your ears closed, keep your eyes closed, and walk around in a fog. Turn on a zombie movie and pretend you're shooting them all down. Whatever turns your head around, makes you laugh, makes you giggle, whatever. And people say, "Well, you're serious. You're anti everything." I said, "No, I'm into the truth." And since we don't have any, it's really hard to be happy about anything. What we allow on this planet to children in every race, every country, is sickening, pathetic. And you think we're a spiritual race at any level? Please, anybody out there, write a name of somebody that's really spiritual and send it to me. Don't put Deepak Chopra. Don't put Eckhart Tolle. Don't put the Dalai Lama. Don't put the Pope. Don't put yourself there either. Put somebody that's really spiritual, because you won't find one. Well, there's healers. Healers? I already explained about healers. Truth hurts, and when you know more about it, you become less attached to this physical reality. Because it's not an illusion because you are here, but you're stuck here until you work your way out of it. So for the people that call this the illusion, if you're living in hell and it's a lousy illusion, why wouldn't you change it? Why would you be in a world that's so corrupt and evil if it was just an illusion that was in your mind? Wake up. Before you go to bed, think of a better idea and create a new illusion, if you believe it's an illusion. How about a delusion, all right, which most people live in? Well, they're words that man created. Soul is what we are. And when we realize that and become that, we realize that we're not anything important in this reality, and we don't need to be. You want to be a dictator, a ruler, a leader, president? Ego's overwhelming, and like I said, Satan has the power to do that, making you think you're better, or you know something that somebody else doesn't. Well, until you tell them how to save their soul, anything you tell them is useless. Jesus was the only one that came here to teach souls how to leave and get closer to God, not closer to family, friends. How many times when he picked his disciples, he said, leave your family? Why did he say that? Why didn't he say, bring your family along? He picked souls that were ready to grow. And very few souls are ready to grow. Why do you think he only had 12 disciples? Why didn't he have 1,000? Why didn't he have 10,000? Because there was nobody ready for any of that. And they're still not. So with that, religious people, spiritual people, New Age people, atheist, whatever word you like you call yourself. Good luck with your mission, and I hope you find it. Hope it brings you to your deathbed happy, and hope you think you're going to get what you think you want when you leave, because you'll find out that's different. And I'm only telling you because I stayed in the astral plane watching souls coming in and going and reincarnating back and forth. I mean, I have my place doing a lot of things, learning about all that. But astral plane's nothing better. You don't have to eat. You don't have to walk. You don't have to do a lot of things. And you even pick your own age. Whether you want to be 25 to 35 is the average age most people pick. I don't know why you would want to come back as a child, but you could. But you usually don't. Because you take whatever you perceive as your ultimate foundation of who you are and truth, and that's what you want to hold on to. Not when you're like 90 years old, decrepit and in pain and suffering. You don't want to remember that. Or how about being a baby, being pulled out of the womb or something like that? No, hopefully not. Hopefully you're aware of all the programmed ideas you were fed up until that time. But that's a serious problem, and you'll learn that when you decide to take another step. Please, I'm going to do a healing for myself because I'm just trying to get over being on a show because of the ignorance and energy that's around this planet right now. But I'm going to do a workshop on things soul has to do and accomplish in this lifetime. Not about buying a new car, house, helping people get their food in their house, or any of that. It's not about any of that. It's what soul has to learn and know before it leaves, if it wants to stay out of coming back from this to this reality. And then it has to make sure that it didn't do anything stupid before it happened. Again, if you're Christian or religious, read the Bible, read Revelations, what sins can't be forgiven. See, people thought, well, I could be forgiven for anything. I mean, in the movies, a murderer goes to a priest and says, can you forgive me, Father? Oh, yeah, go out and say 1,000 Hail Marys and you're okay now. Look at reality and then search your heart out, because people, oh, I got to say something before I go. Feelings and emotions come from the brain. They don't come from soul. Aliens don't have emotions and all those things like we do. So obviously they think and function totally different. But they don't think about killing each other in general. They don't. Not each other. Not like the human race does. So yeah, there's a couple alien races trying to watch and perceive why we do what we do. And then there's races that need us. So yeah, it's a game. And food is the only thing that's important to all beings that have a body. I think a lot of people like the word sentient beings, but I don't. I just say human beings that have to eat. All right. Now, interdimensional beings are not spiritual, no matter what you believe. Let's go. I guess I'm going to keep going. If you're still here, let's talk about the native nation. Sorry, I'm half native, but so what? I'm half Italian and German on the other half. Does that mean anything? No. I know I'm respected on any reservation, any native people that I met, I have been. And that's not out of ego, it was out of actual respect. I went through the most sacred ceremony, which is called Waiipi ceremony. Try to find out what that means. Not Sundance, I went through Sundance as well. But Waiipi ceremony is something really important to the native nation. Now, let's go beyond that. What did they learn? What did they teach? How to live one with the earth. Now, and I'm saying this from the truth, not from ego, power, or any other words. Given time, the native nation would have destroyed the United States. You can't plunder and destroy everywhere you go and move on. They slaughtered the buffalo everywhere they went. Not that the cavalry wasn't doing it as well. They burned down the forest where they were and had to move. So in time, with the numbers of native people that were here, there would have been no trees, no buffalo. So living in oh yeah, they took the heart out of a beating heart out of a buffalo and ate it. And that made them connect to the buffalo they just killed? Really? We create ideas. Somebody does. Even a story how they got the pipe carrier, which was based on the story of the white buffalo and white buffalo woman. Stories. Read how the Turtle Island and all those stories. The same as Egyptian stories, same as any other story. They're great stories, but they don't relate to anything important, meaning God itself and soul itself. So you got a choice to believe mankind or not to believe a speaker or not to. I'm not asking you to believe me. I know you won't, because your programmed ideas are so locked into that brain. Your brain gets a wrinkle for everything you learn. So there's 1,000 wrinkles in your brain if you're older. And it's just like a filing cabinet. A child's brain is so smooth, it's not filled with all those little wrinkles. Why it can perceive angels, spirit, understand love at a high level, that's taken away from it. So if you want the truth, tell those idiots out there to come and debate me anytime. I'll debate anybody anytime, because people are afraid of their truth being taken away. Well, I'm not afraid of mine because it can't be. There's no such thing. You can't take away Jesus, can't take away who and what he taught, can't take away death. What can you take away from me? My life? Yeah, it can shoot me, blow my brains out. So what? I'm not worried. Do I need a gun to shoot everybody that's going to try to shoot me? No. Do I walk in fear? No. I had a point. That's a quick story. When I met Bigfoot, the person I with is a ufologist, right? And he was sitting in a truck with a scientist, and both of them were afraid to come out of the van because I was running back saying, "Hey, there's a Bigfoot," and they were both afraid to move. Isn't that funny? Like I say, if you're going to go into UFOs or ghost busting, you better be prepared for what you might come across. The only thing is, the difference from me, I'm protected by God, not freaking anything else. I stood really close to a ship coming to abduct my brother and chased it away. I mean, I stood in my house when an alien came in my house, a friend of mine and me. I mean, we chased it out and it went into its ship and took off. And that's when I was little. So please, when I became a witch, I started dealing with all the high priests in Jersey. They all claimed to be this, that, and the other thing. Not one of them could ever confront me. Even when I met a good friend who became a good friend, challenged me when I walked into his pentagram with his staff and screamed at me, "You're going to die." I said, "Really? Am I?" And then when I did it, he stood there looking at me. "Who are you? Who the hell are you?" Duh. I'm just me. I walk in God's footsteps. I'm not God. Don't claim to be. Protection comes from God only, nothing else. And when I mean protection, soul. Your body's never protected. You can think whatever you want. If you pull a gun out on an army coming towards your house, and even you got 10 machine guns, you start shooting them, you think you're going to win? Really? Well, I got 10 more guns, I got 20 more guns, and blah, blah, blah. Guns aren't going to help you. Unless you change Congress, take out the people in control, destroying the planet. Putin has his own beliefs as well. He said we're working with 37 alien races. 2 of them want to destroy the planet. He said that on Russian TV live. He told Trump to tell the truth about 9/11 live. He said in time, if he doesn't, he will. So let's see. Putin met with him, and suddenly Trump creates the space army. And then Trump also says we're going to go to Mars before I leave office. So guess what? He already had some knowledge and some awareness of things. How much about aliens and which alien races? That's a different story. I'm sure he doesn't know much about many of them, because very few people do. Luckily, I met a lot of people inside government that have, but they don't claim to be Superman or anything else. So with all this, I know you got a lot of stuff to deal with, think about. God is what it is, nothing else. Jesus was what he was and still is. And what does that mean? Someday you'll find out. If Jesus comes to you, he's not there to protect you from a car crash, telling you to go out and what? Save the world? Why? If Jesus wanted to do that, he would have, and he realized it can't happen. When you're dealing with Satan's army, you can't do that. This is hell. And that's why we have different bodies, so we don't have to stay in our body that dwells in hell. But, Most people want to stay in la la land, dreamland, fantasy world, think this is heaven on earth and all that. If you believe this is heaven on earth, the reality of God must be limited to nothingness. Because if you think this is beautiful, the ocean might be pretty, the trees might be pretty, trees fall over, die, get ripped out, storm comes and wipes out continents, people. They all have their negative problems as well, and that's part of Earth. But when you get past the astral plane, those kind of things do not exist. Period. There's no darkness, there's no negative, there's no evil. But no, you'd rather live in that because that's where your excitement comes from. That's why Satan draws on the fear, not Lucifer. Lucifer sits on the board with Satnam and Jehovah. Call them whatever you want. They're the names that most people accept. And they're the ones that decide any soul that's going to go past the astral plane. Nobody else. And I mentioned this mystic psychic, who said he's the top mystic on the planet. Well, he was attached by the silver cord, and he still is. And that means he can't go past the astral plane. So with that, Shirley MacLaine was the first person to go public on TV about the silver cord, which was amazing because she put her whole life on a screen to watch, and it was her story. So with that, enjoy your day, enjoy your night. Hopefully you'll wake up from the dream one time and say it's time to move on, to grow, to let go of the problems and the ideas and the sickness that I have in my brain. But what they're creating out there now, what they're allowing you to experience, 5G, the virus, in the near future, the world's going to be deteriorating little by little. You'll see the death, you'll see the darkness that dwells here. And then just maybe you'll want to leave. All right. You heard it here first. You heard it here last. Till next time. Sorry, I was supposed to do my show with my friend today. I don't know what happened. She disappeared. She's been pretty sickly. I think she was exposed to radiation from being on a ship, which people don't talk about as well. But peace, love, compassion, whatever you need in your life, hope you get it. Hopefully, you'll make it to the end of your life with the happiness that you think you need and want. Peace, everybody.